than a trend.
Yeah.
We're forever a part of the culture. HBCU Pulse always has you on lock. From the shade room to your favorite news feed, and now on your TV and radio. We are the #1 outlet for HBCU culture. Follow HBCU Pulse on social media and visit hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community.
What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today. Well, listen, we have a super big guest in the building doing a lot of amazing things, and she's going to be in the new book, The HBCU Experience, the Tuskegee University edition. And this is really crazy, really special because, I'm a Fort Valley State University alumni. And Tuskegee and Fort Valley, we got some history, some athletic history, some recent athletic history, all these different things. They did beat us in the Red Tails Classic, and we ain't going back. But still, we're gonna see them again real soon. It's all good. But man, listen, so many amazing things. We got Miss Elise Tolbert in the building, proud Tuskegee native, a proud Tuskegee native, and a Tuskegee University alumna, making it happen in the world as Tuskegee graduates do. So let's go on and bring her up right now. Miss Elise Tolbert in the building. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, feeling good, and so glad to be here on this show today.
Listen, you big time, and I would expect you to be because you're a Tuskegee alumni. I know I'm Fort Valley. I know what's up. Are you doing your thing?
Yeah, we know what's up. Usually we're going head to head, but today we're standing side by side. So it's all love. I definitely love that.
No, of course. Listen, Fort Valley and Tuskegee, like just our shared history, both on the institutional side and the athletic side, is amazing. And y'all have gotten us a lot of times in football. We got y'all in basketball recently this year, but it's always all love, SIC love, all these different things. But let's go on and get into you. So first and foremost, how are you feeling? How's everything going with you?
I'm feeling great. I feel great, very energized, excited, and of course, motivated after this recent election that we'll talk about later in the conversation, but I'm feeling good.
I love it. So before we get started, because you're doing everything so well and you're really making Tuskegee proud and HBCUs proud, let everyone know who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Elise Tolbert, and as was said, I'm a Tuskegee native, grew up there. Both my parents are from Tuskegee. All my siblings have been raised in Tuskegee. So I rep Tuskegee really, really big, proud of it. I am a 2013 graduate of Tuskegee University. I went to the University for Environmental Science. It's where I met my passion. My passion is about ensuring that people can live in healthy environments, healthy communities, healthy places that allow them to grow and be prosperous and literally live their best life. I am a 2015 graduate of the University of Michigan with a Master's of Public Health. And I've built a career in which I've worked on both the local, regional, state, and national level on environmental health issues. So I've worked on issues such as water quality and ensuring that particularly Black and Brown communities have good water quality, like that our water quality is protected. I've worked on air quality for the nation at the Environmental Protection Agency. And I've worked on climate change issues, thinking about how climate change will particularly impact our communities. One thing that's really near and dear to me is that I'm the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization called Next Step Up. And Next Step Up provides free mentoring and tutoring to local high school students in Tuskegee. It's an organization that I founded when I was a freshman in college, and it's been running for the past 14 years. So I'm really big on youth development, on ensuring that youth have the tools and the skills and the motivation they need to reach their goals. And I'm also big on community organizing. My best friend and I, we start the Macon County Youth Council to get younger people ages 13 through 35 engaged in the civic affairs of Macon County. So that's just a little bit about me and my professional background. I'm the oldest sibling of 4, dog lover, have had a lot of dogs over the years. I love being outside, love being in the sun. So I'm really feeling summer now.
Hey, I love it. Listen, you're doing so many amazing things. And listen, you're a Tuskegee native and you went to Tuskegee University. So I gotta ask you this. Was Tuskegee your first choice, or did you want to like leave the state or go to another school since that's essentially home for you?
That's a really great question. You know, both of my parents are Tuskegee alum, so it was one of my top choices. But growing up in that small town, I was definitely ready to get away. I wanted to get to, experience a bigger town, a bigger place, a bigger city, have a diversified experience. But as I really thought deeply about my choice for college, I consulted one of my friends who told me, you could go to this bigger city and do something fun and have a great time. Or you could stay here, go to a world-class university, also leverage your scholarships, and utilize your networks for doing something bigger, something greater, something that would allow you to give back to the community. And so that conversation really stuck with me and guided my decision to attend Tuskegee. And I can definitely say I made the right decision.
You clearly did because you're doing all these amazing things now. You were doing amazing things when you were at Tuskegee. So let's go through each of your 4 years. So I'm gonna name a year, and I want you to let me know how that year was for you on the yard at Tuskegee. So let's start with your freshman year. So you started organizations and all these different things, but overall, what was your freshman year like for you?
Freshman year was dope. There's this song that Drake came out with my freshman year. We won't talk about it too much now because of the little beef. But he says, I know way too many people in here that I didn't know last year. And that's definitely how I felt after my freshman year. I knew so many people that I didn't know before. I had a really robust experience, and it started with running for Miss Freshman. So my freshman year, I ran for Miss Freshman, which was a big deal at Tuskegee. And I ran on the platform EMT. And those are my initials, Elise Marie Tolbert. But it also stood for emergency merging of the two Tuskegees. Because as a student, I began to see for the first time that there's this divide between the university and the city. I grew up as a local in Tuskegee. So I never knew that the Tuskegee University students would see locals negatively. So I thought, well, how do I bridge this gap? And when I won and got on the court, I thought about that pretty deeply, and out of that was born Next Step Up. And Next Step Up provided not only mentoring and tutoring to high school students, but it provided a route for college students to interact with people in the community, to be able to humanize people in the community, to be able to walk into a grocery store and say, oh, hey, I know you. And I believe that by socializing with each other more, both at Tuskegee, but also in this broader world in which we're so polarized, we can better humanize each other and understand that despite our differences, we have more commonality than differences.
I love that. And listen, the Drake song that you quoted was Over from his first album, Thank Me Later. And over is such a great word to use because that beef was over when Kendrick dropped Not Like Us. Whoa! He dropped Not Like Us, it was over. Not like it was over. Drake wrote his fate in 2010. It's crazy because it was over. But listen,
you said the year that was 2010. Yep.
I remember listening to that album on my MP3 player, laying on my parents' couch. I listened to every song from Fireworks to the last one. Like thank me now. Oh man, listen, I'm a Drake fan. I'm a Kendrick fan, but listen, Drake, that was over. That was over. But I like the quotable. That was dope. I like that. I like that a lot. But just you running from Miss Freshman, so so what was the result of it? How did you come up with your platform? Because you had a very dynamic platform to be running from Miss Freshman, because a lot of freshmen, they often have like a cartoon like that they draw from. They don't really develop the platform, but they focus more on the theme and sort of on the costuming. So you had a very dynamic platform and it really tied into community. So how did you develop that and what was the result?
Well, the result was the short-term result. I won first attendant to Miss Freshman. But as a byproduct of running, I increased my name recognition and notoriety on campus, which is not even what I was trying to do. but I now had people who knew me and would follow my influence. And so when I started Next Step Up, I was so surprised. I remember my friend and I walking into the room. I didn't reserve the room properly for our first meeting for Next Step Up, our first ever meeting. And I walked into the room and I saw a room full of people, over 50 people. And I thought, dang, somebody got the room. So I walked out and he came after me and said, Elise, where are you going? I said, oh, did you see someone got the room? He said, they're there for your meeting. And I was like, dang, I'm glad I wore good clothes. So yeah, Next Step Up started off with a bang. I was basically able to utilize my influence to provide an avenue for Tuskegee University students to more deeply engage in the community while providing a beneficial service. And that was really good for me. I also had a number of other unique experiences my freshman year. For instance, I was able to serve as a delegate for the Rural Youth Assembly, which is where youth from rural counties and towns come together and talk about rural issues and how to fix those. And we actually had that meeting in New Mexico during the Gathering of the Nations, which is a festival where a number of nations, like Native American nations, come together. So Tuskegee also allowed me to not do things just in Tuskegee, but then to take Tuskegee to the world. And that was another similar thing for my experience at Tuskegee.
I love that. So you were first attended to Miss Freshman on Tuskegee University's Royal Court. So tell us about that experience, because I know for a lot of different institutions, so some institutions don't have attendance at all. It's just, hey, you're in that role, and then it's a wrap. But Tuskegee is different because y'all have attendance for the freshmen. Like at Fort Valley, we have attendance for Miss Fort Valley. You got the Mr. and Miss. Well, y'all had attendance for the freshmen. So what was it like being an attendant to Miss Freshman on Tuskegee's court?
That's a really unique question. I don't think Miss and Mr. Freshman and the court had that significant of a role. Of course, we represented our class. We were in the parades and we had a number of speaking opportunities and engagements. But for me, it was more of a catalyst that ignited the trajectory of the rest of my experience at Tuskegee.
I love that. I love that. So overall, so you said your freshman experience was dope. So sophomore year, like you said, freshman year was dope. So what was sophomore year like? Give us a description of sophomore year, what you did sophomore year.
Sophomore year was great too. Sophomore year, I lived at Sage Hall. Shout out to the girls of Sage, okay? And Sage Hall is unique in that Tuskegee Airmen lived in Sage. So it's a very historic building, like most buildings on campus. I also participated in the praise dance team, at Tuskegee University, and praise dance for the chapel. And I think that really was a defining experience for me. But in addition to participating in praise dancing, now I was running an organization. I founded Next Step Up my freshman year. And so I spent quite a bit of time, of course, in classes, doing classwork in the lab as an environmental science student, and time running Next Step Up, which was really cool and dynamic in itself.
I love that. So junior year for me was my favorite year. A lot of folks say freshman year, junior year, a lot of things unlocked for me. So the first upperclassman year. So what about you? What was junior year like for you?
Junior year, I moved off campus. So I see what you're saying, right? Junior year is the opportunity to kind of have a little bit more authority. You're more comfortable in your experience in college. You kind of understand who to hang out with. You have your crew in place. And so junior year is a cool year. Junior year is the year that I ran for Miss Tuskegee University. And I think that was one of the most significant parts of my junior year experience. I lived off campus, as I said, and so that gave me a little bit more autonomy in my living situation and my time. I also praise danced my junior year, so that was really good. And of course, my coursework became more rigorous. My environmental science coursework did. So junior year was a really good year, and it set me up for great internships too. As a result of my work, my junior year, I had the opportunity to intern at the University of Maryland School of Public Health, where I really began to dig into my interests, which is environmental justice. I got to do research that helps support communities' claims of environmental injustices, of, having water in particular places that's not conducive for health, things of that sort. So junior year definitely helped to set me up for my career. And senior year did too, which I can talk about. But junior year was good for me.
I love that. So you ran for Miss Tuskegee. So I gotta hear your platform because your freshman year platform was amazing. EMT. So what was the Miss Tuskegee platform?
Okay, I love how you remember the EMT. My Miss Tuskegee platform was Roots. Capital R, capital O, T, and then a lowercase s just at the end. Roots stands for realizing our opportunities together. And I developed that theme because it had multiple meanings for me. I am an environmental science major, of course, at the time. And I think about trees and systems and things outdoors all the time. So when I think about the roots of a tree or of a plant, roots provide nourishment to that plant, and it gives it the nourishment it needs to thrive and grow. So just like the roots of a tree, I saw the Tuskegee University students as having the ability to nourish our university and our community so that it could thrive and grow. But I also realized that we could only do that together, that we must realize our opportunities together. And so that requires us to work together. Basically, clubs have to work together and have a shared mission. Students and administration have to work together for a shared goal. The university and the community have to work together for a shared goals. People just in study groups or whatever have to work together. I was basically encouraging unity and togetherness. And little did I know it would not only become my mission for running for Miss Tuskegee, but a theme for my life and my life's work.
You have so many amazing platforms. So I got to ask you this before we move to senior year, because a lot of folks, when they run for elections, they don't really know what to do as far as their platform. And at HBCUs, folks love acronyms, but oftentimes those acronyms have no purpose. Yours had purpose. So you got to let us know, how did you come up with those platforms? Do you have any advice for folks as they're formulating their platforms?
Yeah, authenticity. I thought a lot about my platform. I actually came up with a lot of different platforms. Another one was ACE. I can't remember what that stands for right now. Actually, I remember it. A collective effort. That's what it was. ACE, a collective effort. But I like Roots better. I actually just sat and noodled and doodled platforms all day for a year. I knew I wanted to run for Miss Tuskegee University before I started college my freshman year. So this is something that was, definitely premeditated, very well thought out on my part. And I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to hold the position and represent the university in class, elegance, and grace. And so I would say that as you are not only putting together a platform to run for a position, but as you're thinking about what is your mission in life, what is your mission in this season, I really encourage taking time to be still, taking time to tap into your authentic beliefs and purpose and following that voice.
I love that. So I got to ask this before we move to your senior year. So you were just elected as county commissioner for District 3 in Macon County, Alabama, and you're the youngest member and only the second woman on the commission. You making Black history. You know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing. That was February, but it's May right now. But you're really making history, and you ran 2 campaigns, and you have all these amazing platforms. So, did those skills transfer to you running in this election?
Those skills absolutely transferred to me running this election. When I ran for Miss Tuskegee University, I went to dorms and knocked on doors because I really wanted to meet people where they were. I went to dorm meetings to talk to people. I went to the cafeteria. I went to where people work. And that's exactly what I did with running for county commissioner. My team and I, we knocked on over 600 doors. And I can promise you There were days where I was tired. There was days when I didn't feel like doing it, but I got up and I did it because it was important for me to not only introduce myself to everyone, as many people as I possibly could in the county, but to also hear about what do they want? What's your vision for the future of Macon County? What are some of the challenges? What does fair representation look like to you? You know, what are some of your needs? So I really spent time engaging with people through this election. And that's something that I learned from running my former campaign. This time, years later, I was also able to leverage technology, like sending out text messages, making commercials, just a number of technological tools that one can use for a campaign. And so I think both me having the tenacity and the desire to engage people, which will not stop. That's exactly what I want to do while I'm in office too. And also being able to utilize tools to better reach people really helped to make the difference. But ultimately, I tell people I only had one vote like everyone else did. And so I'm really thankful that others got out to vote and that they put their trust in me to lead for the next 4 years.
I love that. And the thing about it is that a lot of folks don't understand that the skills that you employ when you're running an HBCU election is the same skills you employ in other areas and fields, especially when we're talking about campaigning in the real world. And the big thing folks miss out on is you gotta connect with the people, because too many folks, they campaign at people instead of to them. They yell, vote for me, but they ain't really talking to them. So listen, I think that's super dope, and people need to hear that, because I know the school year is over, but the freshmen coming in, like how you were, and they're going to be campaigning real soon, so they need to know what's up and need to get on the game. But let's talk about your senior year. So senior year, you wrapping it up, you've done so many amazing things at Tuskegee, and you about to walk across that stage. So tell us what senior year was like for you.
Senior year was hectic. Senior year was my hardest year. And so I always encourage college seniors to really be realistic about your schedule and about your commitments. So during my senior year, I knew that I wanted to go to grad school. So I was studying for the GRE and taking the GRE. That is a lot of work in itself. I was applying for graduate schools, writing my personal statements, getting my letters of recommendation, getting my applications together, ensuring that I was putting my best foot forth. That's a lot of work. I was on the Miss Tuskegee University court. I had to go to all the home games and away games to represent the university. That was a lot of work. And then in preparation for graduate school, I decided that I would get a special exemption to take some graduate level courses as a senior, as an undergrad. So I was taking 3 graduate level courses that were pretty challenging, and that was a lot. I was juggling a lot my senior year. I was also trying to get ready to graduate. So I was preparing not only for my present or living in my present, but I was using my present to prepare for my future. And trying to kind of stack the deck between ensuring that I had graduate school options and also employment options, just in case I wanted to go that route. It was a lot. It was definitely a lot of work. Also a lot of fun. Of course, at Tuskegee, whether sunny or gray, we're going to ball and parlay. We get crunk every day. That's the Tuskegee way. So I partied too. I had a great time. And I always tell people, party, like have a good time. I don't tell people to shy away from that, but keep your priorities at the forefront. Like there are too many times where I didn't party because I had homework, I had assignments, I had deadlines, I had things that had to be submitted. So I definitely recommend to remember that Tuskegee University, Fort Valley, all of these HBCUs, colleges, they're really an incubator for your future. It gives you the opportunity to develop friendships and networks that can last a lifetime. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars I've saved through my Tuskegee network. I don't need a hotel when I go to cities because I got brothers and sisters everywhere. But it's work, but it's worth it.
So I gotta ask this. So you say you had all these different things going on, and then plus you were involved on the Royal Court. Then you had so many amazing things you were doing to prepare yourself for that next level. So mentally, like, how'd you get through it all? Because I know senior year, a lot of folks are just burnt out and they're ready just to be done with the experience. And a lot of folks, like, they get to like that November, December, especially if they graduate in the spring and they're just done. They're checked out. They're out of it. So how did you keep yourself going to get through senior year, then to get to the success that you obtained?
There was a light at the end of the tunnel, and I was chasing that light, okay? While enjoying being in the tunnel. Like I said, I did have fun. I did party. I did have friends. I really enjoyed my time with my friends. But I knew that I wanted to graduate. So I focused on graduating. I focused on ensuring that I was going to office hours with my professors to make sure that even if my grades aren't the best, which my grades are pretty good, by the way, but if my grades aren't the best, like, you're going to know that I hustled, that I've tried my best. I'm going to be in your face. You're going to know, like, maybe this D should be a C because she put in effort. So I think that was the thing for me, is that I knew that I wanted to graduate. And I also knew I had an idea of what I wanted to do for my future. I was really interested in public health. And though I was an environmental science major, I had a desire to continue to pursue my educational career. So, but there are times in which you don't know what you want to do, right? There are some people who are in college and they're majoring in something that perhaps they're not passionate about, perhaps they don't love. And I would say that I've found that college can still be a really phenomenal building block for the future, because in addition to what you learn in the classroom, you learn so much outside of the classroom, from socializing, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. And those experiences help to build your character. So it's, of course, college is not for everyone. I don't push it for everyone. But for those who do go and those who it is for, I would say, try to figure out what it is that motivates you and keep that at the forefront. And there were times where I was tired. I didn't feel like going to class. There was times in which I didn't feel like studying. It's not going to always be easy. Like, it just is not. And you literally have to continue to do what you're supposed to do in the face of a lack of desire to do it.
Listen, I totally understand that. Like, I didn't feel like studying ever. So I'm totally get it, especially senior year. And I wasn't even like the party person or anything like that. But I know senior year, I'm like, listen, I'm going to enjoy this here, but I'm going to be gone. Like, this is too much for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I think that that's really amazing advice, and really just in general how college trains you and how college really gets you prepared for that next step. And Tuskegee prepared you for that next step and all the things that you're doing. And I know that you're going to talk about it in a new book, the HBC Experience, the Tuskegee University edition. So I know your chapter is going to be super dope because of all the amazing things that you did on the yard. But give us like a little snippet, a little bit of what your chapter is about.
Yeah, I mean, my chapter is about how my experience molded me to be who I am now. And I do talk about my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, but how those years really prepared me to be very competitive in the workforce, very competitive in the world. Once I got out of Tuskegee, I didn't find myself to be one of the weak links amongst people who went to big PWI institutions. I didn't find myself to be a weak link out of people from the rest of this country or any other country. I was well prepared. And so being well prepared meant that in times in which, for instance, there were low resources, I was used to low resources, or times in which I had to advocate for myself. I was used to advocating for myself because of some of the experiences I have on campus. And anyone who goes to a HBCU knows what I mean. Like, there are those moments at financial aid or housing or too many places on campus where you really have to learn how to advocate for yourself. And I knew how to do that. So, and that's why I say it's not just what you experience in the classroom, but it's what you experience with navigating people and administration that really molds you into one of the strongest professionals, but also strong people. Life has adversity. Like, it can be beautiful, but it's not without adversity. And as I've gone through adversity, I've been able to handle it gracefully because Tuskegee taught me how to do so. So Tuskegee is one of the number one schools for social mobility. That's significant. That means that people are able to move into a different class than their parents were in economically. And you don't do that without having some gumption in you, right? For those who know the word gumption, I think that's an old people word. But yeah, it's a special place, and molds people to be exceptional.
I love that. And yeah, like we know gumption. If you're from the South, you know gumption. You know what I mean? Like, listen, my favorite rapper, Big Crit, had a song. He said, boy, you got gumption. So listen, we know what gumption means over here. You know what I mean? Right. So listen, that's a great word. I love the word. But listen, the HBCU experience, the Tuskegee University edition, coming out really soon. We're super excited just to read what you have to say about the gumption that you had, you know, to make it in this world, do your thing, make history out here. So listen, before we go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media and also some things you have coming up and how we can support you.
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect. All right. So on Instagram, I am Elise Marie TU. That's ELISE T as in Tolbert, but TU, right? I am Elise Marie on Facebook. You can also check out Next Step Up on Instagram and Facebook, and like us, follow us, support us. We're always looking to partner, always looking for donations to impact more students. So we are nextstepup.org is our website. That's next, the step and up.org. And then on Instagram, we are nextstepup_TU. Next Step Up TU on Instagram. Macon County Youth Council is the last thing. We are MCYCAL. That's like Macon County Youth Council AL. And what do I have for this year? You all know what's up. This is an election year. This is a year we have to get out to vote and ensure our voices are heard, right? There are ways in which we are not being fairly represented. Our interests are not being heard in this country right now. And if you are frustrated or feeling apathetic, I totally feel you. I totally get you. And yet sitting out is not going to get us where we want to go. So the first thing is that, for instance, in Alabama, where I live, we're in a new congressional district that's supposed to be a majority minority congressional district. That's only going to happen if we all get out to vote in November. So we have to get out to vote. So that's one of my efforts for this year, is ensuring that people are fired up and ready to vote. And then the next thing that I'm working on this year is ensuring that we're providing broad opportunities for youth in Macon County to grow and develop in the types of careers that are going to be available for the future. Do you know that by 2030, like 50% of the workforce will be out of a job because of artificial intelligence? That is significant. So if we're not preparing young people for the types of opportunities, not even just jobs, but fields, ways of thinking that are necessary for being competitive for the future, then what are we doing? I almost said the wrong words on this show. But what are we doing, right? Like, if Black Lives Matter, let's be real. So that's another thing I'm going to do. And if you gravitate towards that, hit me up so we can work together. I have a few more things on the boilerplate, but those are two that are really important and near and dear to me.
Hey, listen, I love you. Passionate about AI, like AI, like you were like, hey, what's going on? Like, I feel that like, AI got us all shook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it really does though.
Listen, so I totally get still in folks' voices.
I'm still trying to figure out how to use my iPhone.
Oh my God. Listen, YouTube it. YouTube, you will find new stuff on YouTube that your iPhone can do. Like I found out like you can change settings on your AirPods from your iPhone. I just found it out before this interview. So listen, that's real. That's definitely real. You got to YouTube that thing, and then you're gonna figure it out because the iPhones, they change so much different stuff. You got to figure it out all the time. But listen, I appreciate you coming on the HBCU Experience, the Tuskegee University edition, coming soon on Amazon. I appreciate you for coming on, and we're super excited to read your chapter.
Awesome. This is a wonderful interview. Thank you so much. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to speak with you.
Most definitely. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.